Hello everyone, my name is Nick, and it's time for the 2-week roundup where we look at the games reviewed on the channel over the last 2 weeks and try and place them in some kind of crazy order. Now, sorry if I'm boring you if you've watched a lot of these, but some people might be watching this for the first time. So quite often when we look at these, it might be that an older game gets a higher rating than a newer one, and you think, Nick, why have you done that for? Well, I base them on the era they come out, what the competition was at the time, and how I personally enjoyed them. So with nostalgia, it's quite often a personal thing, so you very well might put them in a different order. If so, put that below. There's no hate here, it's just different opinions. So I welcome different opinions. A game where I think might be rubbish, you might think it'd be brilliant, and vice versa. And it's all part of the forum, the Great Hull. So love, not hate, that's what I always say. So, before we come to the top 6, let's look at the pinball tables we've had a go at this time round. And there's been 4 of them as usual. I've got a bit of a tickly throat, so I've got tea on standby, yes, because I'm British, and it's been drunk from a pirate mug, so bear with me. Okay, we'll get through this, God nabbit. But yes, the Pinball Arcade, first of all, we're looking at Season 5. It's the first table we looked at was Last Action Hero, based on the film featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Quite a lot going on this table, quite a busy playfield. The skill shot at the start is very similar to another game I reviewed, Terminator 2, also with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm not sure in this one if his voice is impersonated or taken from the movies, but if it is impersonated, they do quite a good job. I'd imagine there's quite a few Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonators out there. I'm not one of them. It's okay table. I'll put it in the top half of the tables of Season 5, although it won't go down as my favourites. I've been playing these on the PlayStation 3. Future season will be on the PlayStation 4. It's okay. There's a number of missions. There's quite a lot to do, quite a lot of different ramps, and it's not bad. But I'm just left with meh. It's all right. It's a good conversion, as Farsight quite often do, and that can come out in 2016. And then already, doesn't time move fast? We've come to the last table in Season 5 by Farsight Studios. It was TX Sector. Yeah, the idea of this game is to build up energy throughout the table by putting it in various places and to teleport the ball. Now you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, on a pinball table, how can they teleport the ball? Well, it's a trick. They've got more than one ball in this machine to make it look like it's teleporting. Clever, eh? I bet you've never been able to work that one out. It's from a nice era, TX Sector. I like the font of this one. It reminds me of, the titles. It reminds me of Superman 2. If you remember those amazing titles that went for that movie before the amazing Christopher Reeve took on Stamp, Zod, Ursa and Non. I like, I don't know if it's me, but I like the old Superman films better than the modern day ones. They seem to be able to tell a better story back then. It built it up. It's not all explosions and special effects. But that's just me. But they couldn't bring out one of those movies now because no one would watch it because it doesn't move fast enough. But anyway, TX Sector's quite good. So have a look at that one. There's going to be a bit of a gap now for the Pinball Arcade because I'm going to have to wait for Season 6 released on the PlayStation 4. How long will that take? I don't know. Could be years. They weren't particularly fast with Season 5. Although it came out on iOS systems quite quickly and the PC. Don't know. They are spread a bit thin. The other 2 tables we looked at are on Zen Pinball 2, both of these on the PlayStation 4. Already looked at these 2 tables, both on PlayStation 3, but would have another look. The first one was the Force Awakens, based on Episode 7 Star Wars, the Force Awakens. It's set on Jakku, where there's been an Imperial battle. There's lots of downed Star Destroyers and stuff, but there's sort of missions where you must rescue BB-8, the droid, who's captured by some sort of smuggler or sand thief. And lots of submissions where the Millennium Falcon flies about the place. You have to defeat tentacly aliens, which Han Solo and Chewbacca come across in the film. It's all right. It's not my favourite Star Wars table, I wouldn't say, but it's not bad. It reminds me I'm going to have to download Rebels at some point, which is the cartoon based on Star Wars, which I've never seen. Is that a good table if you got it? Let me know, because it's on my list to do. And the other table, I had to have another look at this one. Been looking at some of my favourite Zen Pinball 2 tables I thought could be lifted higher on the PlayStation 4. The lighting seems to be better. The smoke effects seem to be better. It's Aliens. And the sound of this game, Force Awakens was in 2015, this is in 2016. Aliens, what's good about this table is it follows the plot of the films with the different modes, but also, unlike any of the other ones, for some reason, they've managed to take sound directly from the movie, which really brings you into it a lot rather than impersonation. So you feel like you're actually there. If you put some headphones on, as well, you're really immersed in this game. Lots of mini games as well, including one going where you have to control a tank, the armoured car, going through around boxes and so forth. And yeah, I'm really impressed with this one. There's the Queen Mother, the aliens. The alien mother, is that what you call it? Anyways, at the top of the field, all looking menacing all the way through. Ripley stands with a flamethrower. And my favourite mode by far is They Cut the Power. Where it all goes red. If you've got the Zen Pinball 2, even on the PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, it's well worth buying. And if you've already bought it on the PlayStation 3, you get it for the PS Vita as well, the handheld, if you've got that as well. Although I'm not sure quite how popular that device is, but I love it. Although it's not as good as the Game Boy Advance in terms of retro history. And you can get it from the PlayStation 4 for free, unlike the Pinball Arcade. Okay, we got there. Longer than usual. Let's have a look at the top 6 games we've looked at this time. But first, let's drink some tea. Ah, my laddie. Right, Pirates never said that. In 6th place, then. Controversial, because this isn't a hideous game. It's just way too easy. It's Fighting Soccer on the Commodore Amiga, published by Activision in 1989. Now, if you bring out a football game on the Commodore Amiga, in which there were loads, it's going to compare against everything else that was there at the time and what come after it. So it's slightly better graphics than Microprose Soccer. It's not as good by far as Sensible Soccer or Kickoff 2 or any of those series. It's not as good as Goal. It's quite level with Strike, I suppose, and Italia and 90. But the problem with this game is once you've had a few games, which you probably saw if you watched the video of me playing it, it gets ridiculously easy. And I was like beating Japan to like 9 plays 4 or something. And that wouldn't normally happen in a game. And why I put this in 6th place is because it's called Fighting Soccer and there's no fighting in it whatsoever. I mean, they've even got an end of game show where women are coming out or girls coming out cheerleading, doing pom-pom stuff, and that looks very bizarre and it just makes me want to fight myself. So that's why that come in 6th place. Not a hideous game, it's an arcade conversion from the cabinets by SNK, but you know, something's missing. It should be a bit more difficult than it is. And although I thrashed Japan, I had a go at playing Brazil, and I was basically thrashing them as well. And in 5th place is Rambo on the ZX Spectrum, published by Ocean Software in 1985. So the mid-80s. It's of a game similar to, well, the genre I would say of Commando or Akari Warriors. And I'd put this one in 3rd place, to be honest. Arguably, I wasn't very good at it, as I am with a lot of games. But it's very, very hard without a cheat or a poke on. You control John Rambo. Of course, it's based on the film starring Sylvester Stallone. And by using stealth methods, you must infiltrate a prisoner of war camp and rescue your buddy. As a lot of exploration goes on here, and you must break a hole in the perimeter. It's a bit boring, to be honest with you. A lot of people really, really love this game. So this is where the split's going to come this time. I bunged it in 5th place. Some people might put it in 1st and 2nd place. I didn't play it a lot as a kid, so I think that's where the difference would be. I might be being a bit cruel on this one, but Rambo in 5th. Graphics are good. There's no sound in the game, but I'm told the Commodore 64 version had music playing all the way through. And if the Spectrum version did as well, I probably would have liked it a bit more. But it's a little bit flat for me. And in 4th place, the sequel that everyone asked for, or maybe no one did, it's Postman Pat 2 by Alternative Software in 1989. So all 3 of these games are in the 80s. Most of the games I review tend to be round about that sort of time. Now, in Postman Pat, the original, you went around the fictional town of Greendale in your van and had to deliver parcels. The van was pretty difficult to control, doing 3-point turns was awkward, and quite often I'd drive around in reverse. In Postman Pat 2, he doesn't have a van, he has to walk around. Now, the graphics of this are quite good. It's a well put together game, and your energy is recorded by a T-O-meter. And if you run out of tea, you're dead. That's why I had a sip there. some odd graphics on some of the screens. You've got birds which are stationary in midair. Perhaps they shouldn't have had those, or moving slightly. It's alright, but it's pretty tricky to play. The Postman Pat music is there too. It's pretty much run of the mill. Is it better than the original? Well, marginally, but the idea is the same. You haven't got your van this time. You walk around, and your friend Postman, whose name I can't remember, sometimes gives you lift to different places, and you must collect items to do odd chores for people. So well beyond the realms of normal postmanning, and I think Postman Pat should complain or go on strike. So in 6th place this time was Fighting Soccer on the Commodore Amiga, published by Activision in 1989. In 5th place was RAMBO by Ocean Software in 1985. And in 4th place was Postman Pat by Alternative Software in 1989. So let's come to the top 3. Yes. Now a lot of people might put this one last, but I've only put it 3rd because it offers quite a lot for what you would have paid for it at the time. So in 3rd place is Gadget Races by Conspiracy Entertainment in 2001. I already reviewed prior to this Penny Racers and how it was known. It's essentially the same game. Some of the tracks are different, the layout is different. It's just different for the European market and the US market, but it's sufficiently different enough for me to review both of them. It takes a bit of getting used to. If you go into a race with the wrong tyres on, which I did a couple of times, it's pretty awkward to steer the damn thing. And for some reason as well, I picked a fire engine as my fastest driving car. You know, you don't get many fire engines in races, but what this game does, you'd have to say it's a Mario clone, trying to involve a bit of Gran Turismo as well in terms of updating the car. But you must unlock all the cars, does it sound familiar, upgrade it as much as you can, and win all the championships. So the only reason I've got it in 3rd, really, although it is a bit run-of-the-mill, is because there's so much to do. So someone who's into driving games would have bought this, would have probably got a lot out of it. They weren't short-changed at all. As I say, some people call it in sick, but I analyse it for what it is. In Game Boy Advance, that one, 2001. In 2nd place, now this is when we go up in quality quite a bit. Again, people might argue in order these two, but in 2nd place I put the amazing Tekken 2 on the PlayStation 1, published by Namco in good old 1996 and come out on the arcades first of all, I believe. It's a huge step up over the original Tekken, which I'm still yet to review, which I'm sure I will do at some stage, no doubt. And you're a member of the Iron Fist tournament. You control any one of 10 characters. My favourite one is the Kung Fu acrobatic law type creature. Or man, I should say. And you must defeat everyone, and then it unlocks a game over sequence and an unlockable character. So I believe there's maybe about 25 characters in total once you unlock everyone, maybe 20. And they're not all like human characters. There's a panda, a bear, a dinosaur, and a kangaroo. And yeah, it's not a bad game. By today's standards, looking back, you can see the polygons on it, but it's a 3D polygon fighter, and at the time, as I say, it was a huge move forward and influenced a lot of games that come afterwards. So, yep, I put that in 2nd place. A worthy game to have in your collection if you're into PlayStation 1 games. I was playing it a bit button mashing. I can remember a few special moves from the later games that I have played, but if you take the time and effort, you could get pretty good and a lot of fun out of it. And in 1st place this time, number 1. And it's purely there because of nostalgia, because I played a very similar game by Accolade called Test Drive 2, which is one of my all-time favourites, although stack it up against all the Amiga games, if you haven't got no nostalgia, you probably put it way down. But in 1st place, I've got Grand Prix Circuit by Accolade in 1988, a precursor to the amazing Test Drive and Test Drive 2. Now, it's an 8 or 9 race season. You can control either one of 3 cars, a Williams, a Ferrari or a McLaren. And as you know, if you're watching this channel, my favourite team are McLaren. That's the one I support. And you must win the championship. That's essentially it. So you have a qualifying session, then a race session. Lots of different difficulties. I did the review in beginner, which gives you automatic gears. In the later mode, you have to do the gears yourself. But frame rate isn't brilliant, but as a game, it's just nostalgia city for me. So I really, really love it and can't get away from it. When I used to play Test Drive 2 originally, it would give hints at the end how far you're doing, and it would say things like, I think you're good enough to play Grand Prix Circuit. I didn't have Grand Prix Circuit at the time, and I couldn't track it down. It's one that I've come to later. Grand Prix Circuit, number 1. Hurrah! Very, very, very personal, that selection, I would say. You might have it there, you might have it, you might not. So in 3rd place this time was Gadget Races on on the Game Boy Advance by Conspiracy Entertainment in 2001. Second place, Tekken 2 by Namco in 1996. And in first place this time round was Grand Prix Circuit by Accolade in 1988. Also as well, we've been doing the Spectrum Revisited, going through those, and soon it will go to Amiga Revisited. Some of the early games I did when my sound wasn't brilliant. Won't be looking at all of them, just a selection. So yep, I hope you've been enjoying watching the videos this time round. I really appreciate it. I say this time and time again, but it's true. I really appreciate people that take the time to watch them and to comment and share their knowledge as well. It's absolutely excellent, and that's what makes the channel grow and makes it all fun for everyone. So next time, have a great weekend. There'll be a video going up tomorrow, unless something weird happens like the world blows up. So if the world blows up, don't blame me. Blame Donald Trump or someone. Until next time, take great care of yourself and are very fond. Goodbye.
Goodbye.